Today's topic is direct filling gold. Gold is one of the oldest material to be used in the restorative dentistry, and it may be employed either as a direct filling material as direct gold filling gold or as an indirect restoration. If we see the properties of the gold, we have that the gold is soft, malleable and ductile, as it does not oxidize under normal atmospheric conditions, and it is rich yellow in color and has a strong metallic luster with a boiling point of 1063 degrees centigrade with a density of 19 grams per centimeter cube. And the hardness of the gold is about 25, whereas the coefficient of thermal expansion is about 14 into the 10 to the power of -6, which is close to the tooth structure. If you see the biocompatibility, being the noblest of all, it does not undergo tarnish and corrosion in the oral environment, and it exhibits high thermal conductivity. If you see, how do we store the gold? What is cohesive gold? So direct gold materials that are coated with a layer of ammonia gas which is removed just before the insertion of the gold into the cavity preparation is a cohesive gold. Whereas non-cohesive gold is the pure gold which is contaminated with phosphorus or sulfurous gases or other deleterious oxides which is not cohesive and it is not being used. So we'll see the classification of the gold, direct filling gold alloys. If see, we have the gold foil which divided into the sheets, ropes, cylinders, laminated foils and the platinized gold foils. And the electrolytic precipitated matte gold is again divided into the matte foil and alloyed gold alloys. And the electroprecipitated gold is also available as a powder form, which is also known as the EZ gold. And if you see the gold sheets, these are manufactured by beating or rolling the pure gold ingots into the thin sheets, and the golds are cut into 4 into 4 inch sheets, and these sheets are separated by the thin paper and bound into the books containing 1/10 ounce of gold. That's how the gold foil sheets are used. Now we'll see, for successful welding of the gold to occur during restoration, the gold must be made cohesive. So that cohesive property can be obtained by the degassing or annealing process. It is nothing but it is a process of heating the direct gold materials to remove the surface contaminants. That is referred as annealing. It can be done by heating over an open alcoholic flame or in a mica tray over the alcoholic frame. And these should be placed in the mica tray at far away from each other so that it will prevent the gold pieces from sticking to each other. And heating in an electrical annealer is also another step. That is, it is a most controlled and standardized method of decontaminating the direct gold materials, and the desired amount of the gold is placed in the compartment of the annealer and the lid is closed. Then it is heated about 850 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes and then allowed to cool before it is placed in the cavity. What are the hazards of this degassing? If you see the hazards, overheating is one of the hazards. It may be done if it is heated to high temperatures or by excessive sintering and by the contamination from the tray or by the underheating. If the gold is not heated adequately, it results in incomplete removal of the surface impurities. That leads to the porosity in the final restoration. Hence, the degassing should be performed with a care so as to avoid these hazards. Now we'll see the principles of the cavity preparation for direct gold restorations. If you see the principles of cavity preparation of direct gold is very exacting and require the careful attention. That is, the outline form should include all the structural defects and the margins and must be placed on the sound tooth structure. And the outline should be smooth and designed to be aesthetically pleasing. And the resistance form is achieved by creating the flat pulpal floors perpendicular to the occlusal surface. And the walls must be smooth and flat, and the enamel walls must be supported by the sound dentin. And the retention is achieved by the parallel or the slight occlusal convergence of the facial and lingual walls. And the convenience form for the direct gold cavity preparations requires suitable access and the dry field. If we see the class 3 cavity preparation for direct gold restorations indicates various designs for that. In that it has the Ferrier design, Loma Linda design, Ingraham design, and London Bomb design, and the Woodbury design. In that, the Ferrier design is the most popular because of the conservation of the tooth structure and good access for the compaction of the gold. And it is indicated for the small carious lesions on proximal surfaces when thick labial, lingual, and the incisal walls remain. And if you see the outline form of it, it is viewed from the proximal aspect. The facial wall will follow the facial contour of the tooth and meets the gingival margin in a slight obtuse angle. And it is prepared using the 33.5 inverted cone burr, and it completely extends the outline form. And if you see the lingual wall, it is straight gingivally and curves abruptly in the incisal 1/3 to meet the incisal angle. And if we observe the gingival margin, it is just kept apical to the crest of the free gingiva, and it is straight facial-lingually, as it meets all in a sharp defined obtuse angle and the lingual in sharply defined acute angle. And if you observe the retention grooves, these are placed using the bi-beveled chisel at the inciso-axial and the gingivo-axial line angles. And finally using the Whittlesey's chisel, it is used to bevel the cavus surface margin that creates the maximum convenience forms and removes any unsupported enamel and allows the aesthetic blending of the gold restorations. Now we'll see the principles of compaction of the direct gold restorations. Here the force of condensation should be 45 degrees to the cavity walls and the floor. This produces the maximum adaptation of the gold into all details of the cavity preparation. The force of condensation must be at 90 degrees to the previously condensed gold to prevent displacement of the already condensed pieces of the gold. So, whenever condensing a piece of direct gold, always start at a point on one side and proceed in a straight line to another point on the opposite side, then back to the original on a different straight line. During these moments, the condenser should overlap at least half of the previously condensed area. This process is called stepping. This ensures the maximum adaptation of the gold into the cavity walls and also cold wells each increment of the gold, thus reducing the voids. And now we'll see the general steps for the direct gold restorations. The buildup of the restoration involves the tie formation. That is nothing but this involves the connecting of two opposing point angles or starting points filled with gold with a transverse bar of gold. This tie forms the foundation for any restoration in direct gold. Now we'll see the banking of the walls of the cavity. This consisting of covering each wall from its floor or axial wall to the cavo surface margin with a direct gold material. The banking should be done simultaneously on the surrounding walls of the preparation. Now we'll see the shoulder formation. This consists of connecting the two opposing walls with a direct gold material to completely fill up the restoration. So after filling the complete gold restoration with the in the cavity, it has to be condensed with a rectangular foot condenser and remove the overfilling of the preparation. Then the burnishing is done with a suitable burnisher moving from the gold to the tooth surface. This enhances the surface hardness and also produces marginal adaptation of the gold. Next is the step of margination. It uses a sharp gold knives to remove the excess gold from the surface by moving from the gold surface to the tooth surface. And the contouring is done using the knives, files or finishing burrs to create proper occlusal anatomy, and the burnishing is done again after contouring. And the direct gold restorations require very little finishing if the previous steps are properly done. So finishing can be done using the tin oxide powder on a soft bristle brush or the rubber cups. So polishing is also done to make the surface of the restoration smooth and free from the voids. So direct filling gold still remains one of the most conservative and the long-lasting restorations in the dentistry. This is the brief about the direct filling gold.